Welcome to Orange County Power Players, where we spotlight the personal, professional, and financial success stories of OC's top leaders. Here's your host, Danny Flores.
Welcome back to OC Power Players, where I interview some of the most successful people in Orange County. I'm Danny Flores, your host, and today's honored guest is Daniel Paik, zooming in from Irvine. Daniel is a results-driven executive with extensive experience transforming finance and operational functions into strategic drivers of business growth. Expert in financial leadership, operational optimization, global systems implementation, and team development. Proven track record of delivering significant profitability, productivity, improvements, and robust cash flow enhancements. Adept at partnering with senior management and stakeholders to align financial strategies with organizational goals, accelerate growth, and enhance operational efficiency. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for
Yes,
such
yes.
a great introduction there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you're able to enhance the cash flow for different businesses.
Yeah, it's interesting. So just a little bit more about what I do. So 20 years in corporate finance and accounting, right? I'm a CPA, MBA from UCLA, was a CFO prior to this. And our mission is to transform back office teams like finance, accounting, HR, people in the office, right? Knowledge workers, from being just called a cost center to a value creator. So that value creation, it's revenue generating, or it has to do with increasing revenue, increasing profit, increasing cash flows, right? All those great things that helps grow businesses. And what I figured out, or the pain that I've had for most of my career, is that back office teams, number one, if you ask almost any team, what is your strategy, or what is the organizational strategy for this year? They have never heard what they are. They don't know. They don't think about it. That means they're not thinking about growth, right? There's a reason why we're called cost centers, because we are putting most of our time into cost generating activities. When we have these things called goals and projects over here, right, that are revenue generating or growth generating, but we don't have time to put to these things because we're always stuck doing this repetitive work, all these ad hoc work, putting out fires. So in a very simple sense, what we do is we make your day job, your recurring work, fires, we minimize and mitigate and make things more efficient so that you can reallocate that free time into projects that helps grow businesses.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting you say that. So now correct me if I'm wrong. Is this fractional CFO type, or is it going in and working on the strategy of these businesses? I think it's two different paths, correct?
Yeah. It's not fractional CFO work, although in the future we believe fractional CFOs can leverage our platform to provide advice, advisory services. Because now, so I'll rewind back a little bit. So what our platform does is it provides total visibility into people's workloads and their capacities. Right now, back office teams, no one knows what we're doing. We have no data. We're the only group of departments in a company that doesn't have data or standardized metrics. So as an example, sales, their metrics are revenue. Did you make revenue? And before that, there's other metrics like conversion rates, right? Marketing, similar things, conversion rates. Are you filling the top of funnel? What's your process look like? Where are you converting and what's the percentages? So they're accountable to those things. Operations, how is your operational efficiency in terms of your projects, your client execution? Are you on budget? Are you on task? So there are these metrics that all these departments are accountable to. And we in back office make these dashboards and reports for these other departments to keep them accountable to these metrics.
Yes.
The question is, where is the dashboard and reports for back office teams.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have one. Literally in one of our calls, and I've heard this on many CFOs. Um, I'll tell you the example of a CFO that I talked to recently. He said, after hearing what we do and showing him what we do, he said, Daniel, I get it. I now know why the last strategy meeting I had, I now know why they asked this question. And the question was, after he said that for the first time, they're a Series B company. They made dashboards for each department, sales, like I said, operations, customer service, marketing, etc. And at the end of that, the COO goes, hey, CFO, where's your dashboard? And he goes, my dashboard? We don't have one. What would I put in there? Like, what does that even mean? And no one had an answer. But what we do is we provide an answer. We provide that dashboard, that standardized metric, what back office team should be doing, and
Right.
really to bring it more tangible. It's really for us in back office, it's not like conversion rates or revenue per se. It's actually where we're putting time. There's a
Right.
study that Gartner had that said for Fortune 500 companies, back office teams, they do 600 to 800 unique tasks a month. How are you going to make that a metric? It's nearly impossible. So our
Mm-hmm.
metric is actually where we spend time. Are we spending time on business continuity recurring work, which is needed and that you have to do? Or are we spending more time on ad hoc fires that things are constantly breaking? And so there's a problem there. And
Right.
are we spending time on projects that helps businesses grow? And most of the time, 99.9999% of the time, we almost never spend time on the projects that are the value adding, value creation work. We're spending time on the recurring work and the ad hoc fires that are constantly happening. So question is, can we reallocate time to the highest and best use of our time to these projects? And if you do that, companies grow. So I'll tell you a quick number. One metric is that we have teams, many teams, we work with many teams, and one team within 10 months, they completed 900% more projects. Revenues increased 156%. Profit margin increased 29%, all because back office teams executed and completed more projects.
That's really interesting because you can't ignore, and I'm almost thinking as you're talking to me that if you're able to track the activities that are being performed, and let's just say 30-40% of the time is spent on putting out fires, you can actually sit back and dig in and say, why is that happening? What can we improve in the processes and procedures so that it doesn't get elevated to that, and we're not spending so much time putting out fires, but we're being proactive and eliminating them.
That's where we have one of the most, that's where our success lies a lot of times. And you've somehow intuitively, you knew that it was like 30 to 40%.
Is
Back
that,
office
am I
teams
right?
spend,
I mean, it was
you're
just
right,
kind of a guess.
30 to 40% is about the amount of time the entire year that you're spending on ad hoc fires, right? That
Yeah.
fires are what? Things that shouldn't have happened. But
No.
business happens, so you're gonna have some fires here and there. But
Right.
if you're spending 40% of your year putting
Yeah.
out fires, there is
Yeah.
definitely something wrong. But we don't
Right.
have data right now to understand what it is. We don't know where the source is. We don't know how many times it
Right.
happens or how long something takes. So we don't even know which one to fix. Or actually, the real problem is management has no visibility, virtually no
No.
visibility into these fires that your direct reports are doing. So
Right.
they don't even know how to manage and lead in that side.
Right, because if you don't have any data of it, because and correct me if I'm wrong, but as a C-suite executive, as they create these dashboards to be able to track, you have to be able to see before you can change anything,
Right?
right? If
Right.
you can't see what's going on, you don't know what to change and where your vision can shift the operations and improve them.
Yep. So there's actually you said something that Peter Drucker, the father of modern management, he has
Hmm.
hundreds, if not thousands, of quotes. And one of my favorite quotes is he said, "If you can't measure, you can't improve."
Yes.
So because what are you improving and how do you know you're improving if there is no measure that you have baseline measure that you have? The problem with back office is it's not that they don't even have a measure. They don't have the data to measure. It's not that they're not
Right.
measuring. They have no data to measure.
Right.
So we fix that. We collect and we capture the execution data, the tasks, the time, the
Right.
source, the trends, so that you can make a data-driven decision to measure improvement, ROI of, hey, if month-end close is taking 25% of your team's time a year, well, the average that we see is 8%. So how do we get from 25% to 8? And now that you
Right.
have the data, you can start whittling down on these tasks.
And that's huge because that could give you that cushion to be able to grow with the same team without having to hire out, or perhaps cut your team back without changing anything on the top and sales or anything out, and without any reduction there. And
Right?
that's huge because your margins increase, right?
Exactly.
Your EBITDA increases with that.
Yeah, and that's just the initial effect, right? The initial effect is you just automatically gain more productivity. There's a few
Hmm.
reasons why. Number one, if you organize your day, there are studies that show that if you just take 10 to 12 minutes a day organizing your day, you are on average 200% on average more productive, right? So we have the mechanism that we do that, right? Just by organizing. But to organize back office people's times, you have to know the data, right? So we give the data side, now you can organize your day, you're automatically more productive. We have many use cases. One use case was somebody was they told me, Daniel, we can't do this because we need two more people. We're overworked. I'm like, and they're like, they admitted the exact reason why we need you is the exact reason why I can't do this right now. So we waited 6 months. After 6 months, he called me urgently. You need to help us. My team, my controller quit. This other person's quitting. I don't know what to do. You told me that you're gonna make chaos into calm. How do you do this? So his controller quit, and we came in quickly. And hilariously, actually, I did the exit interview, although I'm not part of their company. But they asked me so that I could collect the data of what they're doing.
Right. What do we
Within
need, right?
Yeah, within 2 months, they thought they needed a minimum of two more resources to stabilize this thing, so people stop quitting. They're working 13 hours a day, it looked like. In the beginning, we found that they were working 13 hours a day. Within 2 months, we were able to get that down to 9 hours a day. And we found that they literally, the VP of finance called and said, Daniel, I canceled the two new hire requests that we're trying to get for almost a year and a half. And I was like, why would you do such a thing? We almost never get resources. You got approved finally because this guy quit. He's like, but after using your system, we had zero tasks to give to these new people. We could not identify one task. So we don't need them. So they were able to absorb all the extra work that they thought they couldn't do and also lower their 13-hour average day to 9 hours just because of visibility. And that's what's missing, right?
That's huge. That's huge. Saving on hiring two people, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's
A quarter
a
million dollars in
hundred.
this case.
What's that?
$250,000 in savings
That's what
in
I
two
was
months.
gonna say. That's like a lot of money, and everybody's happier because they're not working 13 hours a day anymore. They're working nine,
Right.
and so your productivity is just through the roof. I mean, those are as CEOs and CFOs, those are very strategic improvements in operations. And so that's amazing to be able to perform that way. And as the leaders, you have to continually have that vision and bring in the tools to be able to make these changes and operate more efficiently,
Right.
right?
Right.
So now, do you guys, okay, so you're gathering data. So my first question is, how long do you run the data gathering process to have significant amounts of data to be able to make changes? And two, do you help interpret this data um, for the CEOs and CFOs here?
Right. So great question. Our system we're creating a standard of how to work. So I'll go back a little bit. Whenever accountants come in or anybody in office settings, when they're usually hired, there's almost no standard way of training people. on how to
Mm-hmm.
work. We're just thrown into the fire. And if you have a great manager, you learn great skill sets and great ways to organize. But I would say, unfortunately, that's few and far between. And so a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people don't like their managers for whatever reason, right? And
Right.
it's not really, I can't pin it on the managers themselves because their managers also were not that great and their managers were not, so it's just this
Right.
like vicious
Right.
cycle of not learning and not knowing what real
Right.
management looks like
Right.
and the disciplines that you need to put in or the controls and all these things that you need to put in. So in back office teams, there's no standard way to work, right? And the productivity tools that are out there, and I'll just name them, right? Asana, Monday, Trello, right, Basecamp. There's like
Right.
goal management tools like Lattice or EOS and things like that. EOS, although they give you a more prescriptive way to manage strategy and goals,
Right.
the execution data is still lacking. But anyways, going back to productivity tools, there, in my opinion, the reason why I created what I'm creating is they did not create a standard. They actually created the opposite of a standard. It's all about customization. So they say, hey, Daniel, you're an individual. You should work however you want. Put whatever you want in this tool and manage whatever your workload is. Well, if I put in 10% of my work that I want to put in, and my coworker puts in 2%, and this other person puts 15%, but that person puts more project stuff in, and I just put in some things I have to remember.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with that data? There's like for a third party to look at it, and you're gonna say, what, how can I help you with this as a manager? So my
Right.
entire,
Right.
I was using many of these tools religiously for over a decade. I can, number one, never get my teams to use it. And number two, I had no insights from it. It just
Right.
doesn't work. And
It's just like
so,
a calendar type of task
right.
that you assign as a manager. And yeah, I see that. I understand that. And if people know that, you can go online and research these tools, and that's
Right.
basically what they are.
Yeah. So we created a methodology. We basically it's a daily management system or daily work management system. I don't have a term for it, but it's
Hmm.
how everybody should work in a standard way. So we have pinpointed and found out very simply that everybody in the world has three types of work that they do. We all have recurring work, right? Business continuity
Hmm.
work, like payroll. We have ad
Right.
hoc work, which is unplanned work, right? The fires. And then we have
Right.
projects, the goals that we have to do. So everybody has three, whether it's
Right.
the percentages are different depending on what level and what type of company you're in.
Right.
So the first one, um, so we basically get the recurring work, we transform into deliverables. What do you deliver? How many times you do it? How long does it take to do it one time, etc. And so once you do that, it's one and done. It's recurring. So it's always in the
Hmm.
system. You just have to organize it on a daily basis.
Right.
Ad hoc work is unplanned. So you don't know, you can't plan for it, obviously. So you don't know. It happens when it happens. So really at the end of the day, you just put in the unplanned things that come in, put a
Hmm.
source to it so you can have reporting on it. And
Right.
so once you have just those two pieces of data, you now know where you're spending pretty much all the time, your entire work. And then what you're trying to really do is to mitigate the time spent on these two so you can put time and commit time to these projects that are value
Hmm.
adding.
Hmm.
That's kind of generally how it works.
Okay. So is it something to
So I forgot to answer the question. The answer is it's a daily thing. So you open your Outlook or Google, right, your calendar or email, you're doing it on a daily basis. This is the same thing. You open it and you use it on a daily basis, right?
okay.
It's
So
takes 10 to 12 minutes a day. I would say everybody in the world manages their tasks somehow, whether in their notebook, post-it note, etc., Asana, or on their calendar. They do it
hmm.
in such a non-standard way that it's hard to get garner any insights. So we said, and it takes them longer because they don't have a standard way to do it. So they have to think about it. I'll manage this here. I'll manage that here. We're like, no, no, no. Manage all your tasks in one place this way. So instead of taking the average of 30 minutes to do that a day, it's actually about 10.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so the repetitive tasks, say bank reconciliations, maybe invoices that you get during the week. Maybe you assign one morning to input invoices or to pay. Now, could those tasks be kind of permanent in your calendar that by the 5th of the month you're going to have so many reconciliations done? Maybe by the 7th or the 10th you send out the reports, just that you disseminate reports to people that are supposed to get it. So those are tasks that are going to be the same every month.
Yeah.
then you have to have cushions in there for additional projects because they come up. Listen, maybe we have a new account we have to input, or we have a new client that needs this, or an existing client that needs this extra report, or whatever the case may
Right.
be. Is how do you say structure it
Yeah.
efficiently, and so you're not spending time rejiggling things around all the time,
Yeah. So you actually said exactly what I'm saying is that you have these types of work, recurring work that you set it and forget it
right?
in a
Right?
sense. And all you do is, oh, I have these four recurring work items I have to do today. If I can finish all four and it just did three, I could skip it or I can move it tomorrow or whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
Mm-hmm.
simple. The ad hoc work side, something just comes up, the cushion that you're talking about, right? It can be two different things, right? It can be just ad hoc unplanned work, or it could be a project that you're working on that you need to work on today for whatever reason, someone needs it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
more urgently. So
Right.
it's just putting it toward either ad hoc work or growth. And so now you'll see any given day, week, quarter, month, year, how much time you can say, hey, Daniel, initially his baseline was 98% spent on recurring work, 28% on ad hoc work, and 0% on growth. That's like a what we find a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
And as you use our system, it's going to say, oh, Daniel's recurring work is now 78%, ad hoc work is 15%, and his growth work is skyrocketed to 18%. And he's done three projects already when last year he only did a total of one, right? So now you
Yeah.
can see the ROI
So
and
so
you
so
have data to show your value.
are the tasks labeled reoccurring work, ad hoc work, or project work?
Yes, we have
So you
three
can track.
groupings to make it
Oh,
simple.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how you do it. At the end of the month, you can see the report and you can, okay, that makes sense. So is it like a platform where people log in and use it, or what
Yeah.
does that look
It's
like?
a it's B2B SaaS. It's a, software subscription
Okay.
where you come in, but the thing is, the difference between us sort of is that we require white glove onboarding because
Okay.
we find change management is the hardest thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say 98% of people find value right away when I show them what we do,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody is weary or concerned about the change management side, the user adoption side. And so we tried many different ways and we found out that a white glove onboarding is the most effective. And so
Mm-hmm.
people now understand this thing that I just talked to you about for quite some time, this
Right.
methodology, right?
Right.
It takes a bit of time for it to sink in, and it takes a
Yeah.
bit of time for the practical everyday usage to sink in. But when
Right.
those things collide and they meet, they go, "Oh my goodness. How," I have people saying, "How in the world did I work the other way? I
Yeah.
can never go back doing the old way of working." Right? This is
Right.
like it's almost to them it's like stupidity to go back because this should be the
Right.
standard way that everybody should work. It's not like rocket science. We're just
Mm-mm.
telling you this is what everybody does, and you should just group it in these three groupings so
Mm-hmm.
that you know you're putting your time to the highest and best use. To what? To help your company grow. So I think one thing
Right.
that's missing in back office teams, and it's not any blame on anybody, it's just the way that the world has evolved in terms of corporations and offices and who does what. So we call things front office, mid office, back office, or front office and back office, and
Right.
we write off back office people, right?
Yeah.
I tell people I felt like a second class citizen my entire career. Even as a CFO, I felt like a second class citizen. I felt like I did
Right.
not have a seat at the table. And the question
Mm-hmm.
is, why? And it's because the seat at the table that we're talking about, is a
Mm-hmm.
strategic table. It's all about growth.
Yeah.
So if you're not growing, you're dying,
Yeah.
right? It's
Right.
one or the other. And the unfortunate thing is, many even CFOs and most back office teams, we don't think about how does what I do affect growth, or what should I do to help growth. We're not aligned. And so I've been talking to so many people. I may have said this before, but I don't think I did. Correct me if let me know if I did before. But primary goal for a business leader, did I say this? The primary goal for a business leader is growth.
You know what? If you haven't said it, that's so important that you can keep saying it,
Okay.
right? It's got to
This
sink
is this
into
is like
everybody.
the whole
Yes.
reason why I created this. So the primary goal for a business leader is growth, right? They're
Right.
trying to help grow the company. Growth we call in a business strategy, right? I have a whole thing about strategy on what people think about it. But anyways, to me, strategy equals growth. So we want to grow the company. We call it strategy. Strategy turns into a multiple goals of how to get
Mm-hmm.
to strategy. And then execution of strategy is called projects,
Mm-hmm.
right? So growth is strategy. Strategy turns to goals. Goals turns into portfolio of projects. So
Right.
really, at the end of the day, business leaders want projects done.
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT says there's over 1,500 project management systems in the world today. There's so many. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because business leaders intuitively know that if we get these strategic projects done, the company is going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is people that execute on the strategy, vast majority of what needs to be done in these projects are done by back office people. If you're going to expand to EMEA or APAC,
Mm-hmm.
who does most of the work? Well, you need to get taxes, you need to get office, you get people, you have to get training, you have to all these administrative back office work that you need to be done.
Right.
But the people that are doing the back office people, like I said, their number one primary goal is not projects, it's recurring work.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know that? Because I can't say, hey, Danny, so busy this week. I don't think I can do payroll this week. You're gonna say, no, Daniel, whatever you do, get payroll done, right? It's
Right.
business continuity. You have to do recurring work,
Right.
right? So that's our
Yep.
number one.
Yep.
The second goal is not projects, it's ad hoc work. We call it fires for a reason. We think we have to put it out now. So the last thing on our mind are projects, but that's the first thing on the mind for business leaders. So there's this conflict, there's this
Right. Right.
rub, and we're
Yeah.
not aligned. And back office teams historically we're people that say no, right? No, we're not, you can't do that. You can't do that. Oh, you're messing up my process. We're not aligned to growth. We don't think in a growth mindset. We
Right.
think in a
Right.
cost center mindset.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is the reason why that is number one, we don't know what the heck we're doing, even ourselves. As a CFO, I didn't know 90% of the stuff that I knew generally what they were doing, but the fires they're putting out, how much time they're putting into something, if they're putting it to the best place, the most priority place, no clue unless I had these discussions with them, and it's not
Right.
sustainable.
Right.
So my thing is we should be like every other department and have metrics. We should understand where we're putting our time so we can be put time to the most value adding activity, which are projects. And if you do that, then we have a seat at the table. Now we become
Right.
strategic,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
No, no, no. That definitely makes sense. Now, here's a thought as you're speaking. We know that no employee lasts forever, so there's employee turnover. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you have the system in place,
mhm,
and the system is maybe allocated to maybe accountants or bookkeepers or just, support staff or whatever. If one of them quits, and you sit a new person down on that desk, is the system basically already set up so they can come
yes.
in the driver's seat and they know what direction to drive because everything is there already?
So you're already getting it. You're ahead of the curve in most of my conversations. So usually in the third or fourth conversation, I tell them, hey, by the way, since we have all this data now that we have for your team,
Yeah,
and we have your job description in deliverable form, what they're delivering, when they're supposed to do it by, about how long it takes, you never have to say when somebody quits, write down everything you do before you leave.
right.
And when
You don't
someone's
have,
onboarded, we have found that anecdotally, our clients tell us it takes 2 to 4 weeks to onboard a person instead of 6 to 9 months for them to get familiar with what they're supposed to deliver.
right.
Yeah. So
Now,
that's
you look at even better, Daniel. Let's just say because you're creating this efficiency, right, in the back office, and you have your margins increase, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
Now, let's just take one step further and say strategically, because our margins have increased, we can spend more money on advertising or on the resources on the front end side.
Right.
And you do that, and your business grows. Now, you need to replicate a position because your business is growing. Is it as easy as being able to pick it up, make a new seat with the same task already built, and the new person, the new position can take off running between 2 to 4 weeks instead of 6 to 9 months.
Yes. We don't have the current copy paste feature, but it's easy to, we can do it on the back end for you and then paste it for you. Yes.
Right. See, this is enormous for somebody who's operating a business because the efficiencies sometimes are the ones that create that extra revenue
Right. But
aside
actually,
from
the
sale.
even better use case we found is you can create ghost users, right? Or potential hires. And
Right?
you can create the recurring work portion. So
Hmm.
what we found is historically, even me, I would go to my boss and I need another person. They're like, no. And until I go, my guy's gonna quit if we don't hire another person, or I'm gonna quit. They go, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, go, go. Then they know, like, oh, okay, you really need another person because we have no data. But what's happening with
Right.
our system is that you do not hire another person until this new user, ghost user, whatever, new hire already has 75% utilization of tasks. So now it's data driven. So this, you tell the CEO or whoever your boss, hey, we need this person to do these tasks. It's a full-time job, pretty much.
Hmm.
If you don't hire them, these are not going to be these are not going to get done. What do you want to do?
Hmm.
We have literally, I know people have to receive approvals same day once they show the data. Like, this is what you're paying for. And they
Hmm.
go, that's, oh, yeah, those things you never get done. We've been talking about it for 6 months, and
Right.
I see that everybody is about 98 to 120% utilized. You have no time, hire them today. Like, it just becomes
Right.
easy to hire.
Right. And those are great indicators. So sometimes as a leader, you might hire too soon, and then everybody's just kind of hanging out because you hired too many people and your
Right?
efficiencies are not there.
Yeah, yeah, and she got me on a roll. We have some use cases. We have another company that was worried about a few people not being utilized, but they're remote. They don't know. They say that they're busy, but the production doesn't seem to match, and
Hmm.
so they put us in. And I always tell managers, never blame your direct report for having extra time or not being busy. The actual reason that they're not busy is a company structural issue. Unfortunately, you, the manager, are not managing them properly and giving them the work that they need or building them up or
Hmm.
training them, right? So
Right.
let's
Right.
start there as a baseline. So we
Right.
go in, and so now it's safe, like it's okay. And people can't lie in their
Hmm.
tasks. It's
Right.
hard to sandbag when you have it on black and white,
Right.
right?
Right.
So everybody that I talk to when I do white glove service, they're almost always conservative in their estimates. I
Hmm.
see because they don't want to be questioned. And so we knew this company, a couple people that they were concerned that they didn't have a lot of work. It was true. One had about 21 hours of work a week, and one had like 28 hours. So they had a lot of free time.
But they're getting paid 40 hours a week.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But it's not their fault
No.
because
Yeah.
their managers did not give them the work that they should be giving them for
Right.
whatever reason. And now
Right.
that
Right.
there's
Right.
data, guess what? They're averaging 39 to 41 hours
Right.
and they're happier because they
Yeah.
actually told me, one of them told me, it's like, I've been wanting more things to do,
Right.
but I'm not getting it. Like, no one's giving me
Yeah.
work. They're always telling me, oh, I'll get it to you, I'll get it to you, but they never get there because everybody's so
Right.
busy. So now that they saw, like, oh man, you have 20 hours of free time a week. Hey, we have
Yeah.
these two projects. Can you work on this? And they're like, yes. Like, thank
Right.
you.
Right.
Right? So
So
it's been
here's another
amazing.
question. What size of companies should implement this?
Yeah.
At what
So
stage of the company's growth should they be seeking you out and saying, Daniel, we want to start off right. We want to have these systems in place so that we're not dealing with these issues as the company grows.
yeah. So we have teams that are two people, but our bread and butter are back office teams of at least five plus.
Hmm.
Bigger, the better, because the larger you get, the less you know. But we
Yeah,
actually now
right,
give you all the data across all people and all teams. So,
right.
we have clients that are, our average is about 10, 12, but there are clients that have 30, 40, 50. So,
No, see that? No, that's awesome. That's awesome. But those teams of two could potentially grow because they have a system in place,
yeah,
Right.
And so the system, the two people, it's hard to get the smaller companies because everything's in their mind and they think they have everything under control, which they do, because when you're small, you kind of understand where everything's going. But what I don't think people realize is there's so much stress attached to trying to remember everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when we work with these smaller teams, we put it down and we've heard people say, this has reduced my stress so much. Like I don't even worry anymore on what we're supposed to do because we have it now
It's
set.
written down. You
Right.
don't have to memorize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, an
100%.
IT manager told me, it was Daniel, I've been here for 7 years, and he goes, I kid you not, every single night for 7 years, I would stress about what I'm supposed to do the next day because I'm not quite sure. There's so many things happening. After we implement the Cura work, I have not stressed about work the night before at all. My stress is like 20% compared to the 100% it was at. So
Right.
those things, when I hear it, I'm like, we're on the right track.
Right. Right. No, that's amazing. That's amazing. So this is super exciting. Everything you shared. As we wrap up our interview, what do the next 6 to 12 months look like for you?
Yeah, we are, more or less a startup. So this is something new. It's hard to, I think the main thing that we struggle with is just distribution or people understanding what we do, and there is actually a solution out there. So our next 6 to 12 months is to market a lot more, talk to a lot more people, do live webinars and things like that. Yeah, so that's our next step in the next 6 to 12
All
months.
right. Well, that's awesome, Daniel. Very awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insights and what you guys do. It seems like a very valuable product for all businesses, small and big. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and wanted to inquire about your system, how would they do that?
Yeah, you can contact me on email, Daniel Paik, Paik at curowork.com, CUROWORK.com, or LinkedIn, find me, Daniel Paik, and you can reach out. And you can also make a meeting directly on LinkedIn. I have a link there as well.
Very good. Well, Daniel, thanks so much for coming on. And to our audience, please follow us on ocpowerplayers.com in your favorite channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Orange County Power Players. Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at ocpowerplayers.com/guest.